and welcome to the newest edition of Schedule Rundown by the Get Real Football Experts. I'm Dave Kress, and today I will be going over the Browns' 2013 to 2014 schedule. Not a big fan of the Browns this year. I don't think they're going to have a good year. I'm just not a big Brandon Weeden fan. Sure that they should give him one more shot. I think he's really got to prove himself this year. If he doesn't provide or produce, I think they got to move on from him. It would have been okay if they drafted like Geno Smith this year, or another guy, because there was a pretty good amount of quarterbacks. Not the best. Maybe they just wanted to save it to a year with a better QB class. So, you don't know, but I do think they need to move on. If they could get a good QB to go along with Trent Richardson, who looked very good last year, and he battled injuries. So if he can just bounce back from if he can be healthy, he could be definitely a 1,000-yard runner and probably eight touchdowns at the least. So that looks good. We'll see how how they do this year. Week 1 against the Dolphins. I think it's going to be a loss for the Browns. I like the Dolphins this year. I like how they got Dannell Ellerbe. That's really going to help out their defense. And Mike Wallace. It's also, now they re-signed Brian Hartline as well. So that's going to be Hartline's a good number 2. He had a pretty good year last year at as their number 1 guy. But now, as a number 1 guy, with a now number 1 guy as a deep threat, that should make Hartline even more. Wallace can mostly do is go deep, and he's a really good deep threat. And now with Hartline, as a number 2, last year he had 1,083 yards. So that's alright. He only had 1 touchdown though. That's surprising. But still, he had a very good receiving year. And now to go alongside of Mike Wallace, that's just gonna be good. And they still have Devon Bess. I don't know how he did last year, but he looked. He didn't do awful. He's a very good number 3 receiver. So they have a nice receiving core down there in Miami, if you actually think about it. So I'll give that win to the Dolphins. Week 2 against the Ravens, the Super Bowl champions. I think this is going to be another loss for the Browns. I don't think they can beat this. It'll be a division. It's a division game, and I don't think it's going to happen. If they can stop. Ray Rice and Bernard Pierce is a very good running back duo, and then they still have Torrey Smith, Dennis Pitta, as their 2 of the receivers. Ray Rice can catch out of the backfield, so and not even to mention their defense, which is also very good. I don't think the Browns will be able to keep up with them in this game, making them 0-2. Week 3 at the Vikings. So Peterson is clearly going to be Peterson every year. Now they have Greg Jennings, a very good receiver, and they got Cordarrelle Patterson. He's raw, but he showed lots of talent in college, so that looks good too to go alongside of him. Now they actually have good receivers down there. Not saying they were solid the past few years. They also got Jerome Simpson. They re-signed him, so still. And then now they also have Jared Allen still there, and they had 3 first-round picks. They got a corner, receiver, and Cherry Floyd, a defensive tackle. So, I don't think the Browns can win this one. Making the Browns 0-4, 0-3. Now 0-4 after the Bengals week 4. I don't think they'll be able to beat the Bengals. Joe Hayden versus AJ Green will be an interesting matchup, but even if you stop Green, you still got to stop Mohamed Sanu and all them. They do have they don't have a bad running back. They have a good running backs too. It's Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, and Giovanni Bernard, who's a rookie out of UNC last year. This year's a rookie. He went to UNC last year, is what I mean. And Andy Dalton. He's not the best, but he gets the job done every year. He's gotten 2 playoff appearances in 2 years. Next, he's just got to get a playoff win. And I think the Bengals will make the playoffs again. If I just previously did the Bengals schedule rundown, and I had the Bengals going 11-5. I think that's gonna win the division. In our prediction it is, because Louis had the Ravens going 9-7, the Steelers 10-6. So, I think the Bengals can win this division now. But I really haven't looked at the Steelers or Ravens schedule. Week 4 against the Bills on Thursday Night Football. It's their only night game of the year, and I don't think they'll win this one. I mean, the Bills are just too fast-paced, I think, for them. I mean, clearly I'm a huge Bills fan, so I know most about them. It depends who starts, because right now, I don't know when you're listening, but right now the starter isn't decided. Well, my partner Brendan Harrington, he thinks that it's a lock for Kevin Cobb. Maybe it is, I don't know, but I personally hope it's Manuel. I think it'd be better, but I mean, if they don't start Manuel, it's for his. I mean, it's all for Manuel. They got him to be their franchise guy. The only reason they'd start Cobb is because Manuel's not ready. But I mean, even no matter who is starting, they still have C.J. Spiller, who in my opinion is the most explosive running back in the game. He's so fast. He's got so much agility and stuff. So I really like Spiller, along with Fred Jackson, I think he's underrated. I mean, if you look back 2 seasons ago, he was 10 games, almost 1,000 yards, and then but then he broke his leg, so he kind of he couldn't play for the rest of the year. So he was on pace. He would have led the league in touchdowns. I think, or in rushing yards. He probably would have been at like 1,600 yards if he kept on pace, which I think he could have. So I mean would have been good. But I like Fred Jackson. I mean, and the Bills D. They still have Mario Williams, who they signed last year, who looked good. And I got to give this one to the Bills here on Thursday night. Week 6 against the Lions. I think the Browns will get their first win of the year here. Joe Hayden, and they just got to put like a safety in, and they could try to stop Calvin Johnson. And if they can just stop Reggie Bush, I mean, there really isn't much. They don't have the best defense. They're gonna have a better year, but I don't think the Lions will go that far. So I'll give that first win. The Browns their first win in Week 6, making them 1-5. Week 7 against the Packers. Another loss here. Aaron Rodgers is just too good. Their offense is just too high paced and too good that the Browns won't be able to keep up with the Packers, and I'll give that to the Packers. Week 8 against the Chiefs, and I like the Chiefs this year. I mean, it really is surprising how they did so bad last year. I mean, they have Jamal Charles, who is one of the best running backs in the game. Dwayne Bowe, a very good receiver. Now they have Alex Smith, who's got a lot of experience and is a solid QB. I like Smith. I think he's gonna be a good QB. So, I like the Chiefs. I can see him in the playoffs. Maybe as a wild card. So, I mean, really, they have a good team, a very underrated defense. So, I'll give the Chiefs that one, and the Browns the loss in Week 9 against the Ravens again. I'll say another loss for the Browns. I don't think the Browns will be able to beat them this week. The Ravens are just too good. Their defense is too dominant. That the Browns won't put too many points up. The Ravens will. That brings us to a Week 10 bye, and they are right now 1-8 after 9 weeks of playing. Yeah, I don't think it's possible for them to make the playoffs anymore. Well, it's not because you can't make the playoffs if you're 8-8. Week 11, well, unless we're in the NFC East or NFC West that one year when the Seahawks won the division 9-7 or 7-9, and then went on and beat the Saints. So week 11 at the Bengals. I'm gonna say another loss here. I mean, for reasons I said in week 4, I don't think they could stop AJ Green. They have a good running backs in BenJarvus, Green-Ellis, and Giovanni Bernard, and they also have a good defense. I like with Geno Atkins leading the way. So I'll give another loss to the Bengals. Week 12 against the Steelers. I'm gonna say this is a loss. I mean, the Steelers are too good. I mean, Big Ben, he's gonna be tough to stop, and the running back looks like it's gonna be Le'Veon Bell. I mean, he's good. We really haven't seen much. I mean, Redmond's not the best at Mendenhall. He played for them last year. Now he's in the Cardinals. He looks like he's gonna start. But then there's always that Steelers dude that's good as well. I mean, they're old, but they're still gonna do good. They lost James Harrison, who's now on the Bengals. Yeah, he's on the Bengals. I mean, they still got Jarvis Jones in the first round, 17th overall, who should replace him. He's out of Georgia. He's an outside linebacker, so I mean, not that bad of a transition. Week 13 against the Jaguars. I think they can get their second win here against the Jags. I mean, the Browns aren't that bad of a team. If Trent Richardson, I mean, I don't know where I heard this, but he's going to win them some games this year. There are going to be games where it's all up to Trent Richardson. He's gonna He's there. He's got to lead their offense if the Browns want to do good. But I don't think he's ready yet to carry the whole offense like Peterson does, or even like even like Jamal Charles or someone. But he's got to if he wants to. If the Browns are gonna be anywhere near successful, it's up to Trent Richardson. Um, so I'll give the. I mean, other than Paul Postlesny and that linebacking core, that front seven's not very good. Um, so I'll give that one a win to the Browns, making them 2-10. Week 14 at the Patriots. I mean, this is a loss. Clearly, they're gonna have to stop Tom Brady, and even though it's a tough receiving core, a thin receiving core. I mean, there's still Rob Gronkowski. I know Hernandez is gone now, and they lost some of their other receivers like Deion Branch is now gone, and so is Brandon Lloyd. But still, Tom Brady's gonna be Tom Brady, and their defense is on the rise. So I'll give that one to the Patriots. Week 15 against the Bears. I think this is going to be a loss for the Bears. Or not for the Bears. Whoa. I mean, Jay Cutler, he throws a lot of interceptions. I say that a lot, but he has Brandon Marshall, one of the best receivers in the league now. Matt Forte, one of the best receiving running backs in the league, and he's a good running back as well. A few years back, before Marshall arrived, he led the team in receiving yards. So, and now Marshall had over 1,500 yards receiving last year. So, I mean, they look pretty good, and they still have a good D even with the loss of Brian Urlacher. He retired. They still have Charles Tillman in the backfield. I mean, in the secondary, and they still have Julius Peppers up there in Landsberg in this linebacking core. So, not bad. If you ask me, I'll give the loss to the Browns there. Week 16 at the Jets. I think it's gonna be another loss here. Or no, I think it's gonna be a win actually for the Browns. I'm just so used to saying it's a loss for the Browns, I guess. But I mean, the Jets are in a mess. Clearly, everyone knows it. They're still trying to decide their quarterback. I mean, I think they'd be better suited if they went with Geno Smith. I mean, I don't think they can win now, but I think Sanchez has proven what he's done. I mean, even if you think like 2 years ago he was in the championship game, still, I mean, you gotta. I don't think you. I think you have to give it to Geno Smith in this case. But I'll give the win to the Browns there. In Week 17 at the Steelers, I think they can pull up the upset win. I mean, this could be a spoiler. You know how bad teams do this in the end of the years, like when they're out of it, but they still pull those tough wins. I mean, I think this is a good chance for that. Uh, so I'll give the win to the Browns, making them 4-12. Yeah, that's not a playoff appearance. That's top 5 pick. If you ask me. I mean, the Eagles were 4-12, and they had 4 last year. So, they had 4th overall pick last year. This previous April. So that's gonna do it for this edition of the Get Real Football Experts schedule rundown. We'll be taking a 2-week break due to vacation, but still, we still got a few videos to go up, and then we'll finish off all the schedules of the rest of the AFC. Be sure to check out my blog, which is realbillsnow.blogspot.com for everything about the Bills, and listen to our podcast at getrealfootball.com, and also follow me on Twitter at DaveCrestSports, and thank you. I'll see you next time.